I'm in the building every night. I'm in my little media seats right there, and the roar is back in the crowd. And this home crowd in Portland, it's one of the best crowds in the NBA. It historically has been. They hold. I think they still hold the North American sellout streak. It was 22 years through the Drexler era and into that early 2000s era of the Trailblazers. This is a one, like, don't get me wrong, they have the Portland Timbers, they have Thorns, they'll have the WNBA team next year. This is a Portland Trailblazers city. And when this team is even remotely good, Moda Center / Rose Garden is rocking. When they're good like this and they play like this, it is deafening. And it's so cool to have that back. Like that has been the early takeaway of like, the juice is back. Well, there's something here. And I hope that turns into a galvanizing force. Like, I cover this team. I grew up watching this team. Selfishly, I want them to be good. Not just because I want them to be good, but for me, it's better. I talk about them every day. I do the post-game show for them on TV. I talk about them on the radio. I don't want to talk about them sucking. It's not fun.
Your impressions so far, like what have you seen this team especially overcome the resilience? And we've heard in sports, hey, when teams go through turmoil, they pull together and amazing things happen. Is it possible this might be one of those times where
a galvanizing force?
Yeah.
That was the biggest question I had going into game 2. Yeah. I'll use this as a point of reference. In high school, my sophomore year, our high school football team lost an all-state, all-league center. He had Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome. The same thing LaMarcus Aldridge had, that both caused him to miss a ton of time his rookie year and ultimately caused him to retire. It's a cardiac issue. And, he's watching film at his house on a Wednesday night. His dad asked him to rewind it, and he slumped over in his chair and he passed. That year, so the high school I went to in Oregon, Beaverton High School, it had been a state powerhouse for 5, 6, 7 years. And we played our rival Jesuit school, Mike Dunleavy Jr. went to, private school in the same city in Beaverton / Portland. It's big time rivalry, right? That game, that week, 2 days later, we lost them 13-0. We went undefeated the rest of the season, won a state title. The next year, our starting quarterback got paralyzed. Rough 2 years. And we fell apart. You just never know which way that's going to go. And I didn't know if they were going to galvanize or if they were going to fall apart. And then went out there and they beat the Golden State Warriors like a drum. Just beat the ever-living crap out of them. So the Blazers currently lead the NBA by a drastic sum. When it comes to forcing turnovers. I want to say they are something like 300%. When I looked going into game 5, they were forcing turnovers on 22.3% of all possessions for opponents, which is an astronomical number. It's 1 every 4.5 possessions, right? They're turning the opponent over. And then the next highest team was at 18.2%. That 4% gap. The gap between 1 and 2, which was the Trailblazers and the Cavs, was as large as the gap between the Cavs and the 23rd ranked team. That's how disruptive they had been through their first 4 games. And so you have this team with Jrue Holiday, who has been phenomenal. Shaedon Sharpe, while the shooting has struggled, he's so much more focused and engaged and locked in defensively. Toumani Camara, who's an all-defensive caliber, not an all-defensive caliber, an all-defensive team member last year. Matisse, Thybulle, and Jrue Holiday and Toumani are 3 all-defensive members. They don't even have Robert Williams, the third back, another all-defense guy. Jeremy Grant's coming off the bench and having a career renaissance. Donovan Clingan projects as an all-defensive big. Denny Avdia is taking up right where he left off last year, averaging 22 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, shooting 48, 38, 80 from the field. They're 5th in pace, I think like 107 pace, which is 4 points higher than the number 1 team last year. So they're playing at a breakneck pace. They're forcing turnovers. They're aggressive. They have the highest pickup point defensively ever tracked in the NBA and all the tracking data. They are full court pressing 24.5% of their possessions. They are just dogged. They are so much fun. And it doesn't matter that they're struggling to shoot the ball because they compete harder. It's so weird to say this in professional sports, but there's different sliding scales of competitiveness. There is no team in the NBA right now that competes harder on the defensive end than the Portland Trailblazers. They get after you. They wear you down. James Harden, Steph Curry, and Edwards, they've all said some version of, you don't want to play this team. It is 48 minutes of hell. They are going to pick you up at 90 feet every possession. They're going to get over and under and fly around screens. They're going to scram switch. They're going to X out. They're going to recover. They're going to help. They are going to make you work so hard for everything. Now, they're 3-2 because their offense is a little behind. But every one of these teams so far has gotten done and like, that wasn't fun. Didn't enjoy that one bit. And that is awesome because you can see it like just shine in these guys' faces when they talk to the media. You know, they do their post-game and their pre-game availability. And it's like, we love playing like this. We love that this is our identity. And that's before you get to, you know, the surprise pick in the draft with Young Hansen. That's before you get to talking about how does Jrue Holiday bounce back. That's before you get to Damian Lillard as player coach while he rehabs this year and he's getting ready to come back. They held a rally downtown and 10,000 people showed up for Dame at a rally in the preseason. This is before any of this went down. There were so many storylines. So many. And then you have the Chauncey Billups stuff hanging over the top of it. But the basketball has been, so there's about 6 media members that have kind of been here covering the team through the slog of the tanking area, the tanking age, as it were. The post Damian Lillard, 2 years, and then the couple years with Dame where he had the surgery, and then they had a rough year because the team just didn't make a ton of sense. Team makes sense now. Damian Lillard believes that when he comes back next year, like they're in the mix for like the top of the West. And anybody listens to that thinks that's crazy. You don't know Damian Lillard. That man believes he can win with anyone and everyone, but he truly believes in this team. He loves Tu. He loves Jrue. He loves Scoot. He loves Shea. He loves Jeremy. He loves Denny. He loves this whole team. He's like, this is the team. Like, I've known him since his rookie year. This is a team he's always wanted. A team of hyper athletic, big, rangy, just disruptive dudes. And I think Dame's top 10 all time in career scoring average. I think he's averaging 25 a game for his career. People don't realize how good of a scorer Damian Lillard actually is. If he comes back and let's say the unlikely happens and he comes back at like 95% of what he was pre-Achilles injury going into next year. If all of a sudden you throw a 25 per game scorer into this lineup, what does that do? And we get this whole year to kind of figure out what does everybody else turn into. Scoot Henderson's out right now with a hamstring injury. I expect him to be back probably around Christmas. Robert Williams III might make his debut on Friday. And now they have another way to play big because they played a ton of small ball with Denny Avdija at the 5. They've thrown Jrue Holiday, Toumani Camara, Jeremy Grant, Denny Avdija out there on the floor together and with some version of Matisse Thybulle, Shaedon Sharpe, Chris Murray, and just been disrupt. Like they going into Game 5, they had an offensive rating of 150 because they're just playing at this break. Like every rebound, it's just go. And so they're playing fast, they're playing hard, they're playing disruptive, they're playing a brand of basketball where even when shots don't go in, they're so aggressive that you can't help yourself but be excited. And I'm in the building every night, I'm in my little media seats right there, and the roar is back in the crowd. And this home crowd in Portland, it's one of the best crowds in the NBA. It historically has been. They hold, I think they still hold the North American sellout streak. It was 22 years. Through the Drexler era and into that early 2000s era of the Trailblazers. This is they're wrong. They have the Portland Timbers. They have Thorns. They'll have the WNBA team next year. This is a Portland Trailblazer city. And when this team is even remotely good, Moda Center / Rose Garden is rocking. When they're good like this and they play like this, it is deafening. And it's so cool to have that back. Like that has been the early takeaway of like, oh, the juice is back. Oh, there's something here. And I hope that turns into a galvanizing force. Like, so, I cover this team. I grew up watching this team. Selfishly, I want them to be good. Not just because I want them to be good, but for me, it's better. I talk about them every day. I do the post-game show for them on TV. I talk about them on the radio. I don't want to talk about them sucking. It's not fun. It's not like, yeah, they're 8-point dog tonight, and they're probably going to lose by 12 because I know so-and-so is sick. Somebody's dealing with an ankle. We're in March. Nobody cares. Right now, it's like, can this team win 44 games? Could they actually make the playoffs? Could they avoid the play-in? Like, that's where it's at. And that's so much cooler than, dealing with what it's been the last couple of years.
Danny, I'll say one thing. I'm a big Tiago Splitter guy. He was an assistant in Houston. he really worked with
Huge.
Alper and Şengün.
For Alperen. Yep.
I mean, for the Portland's big men, he is going to be great for them.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a great offensive coach, which is really funny because that really wasn't his role, but he played in San Antonio. So it's, you know, it's, I will say this. I saw the prevailing thoughts from like Houston media and Houston people where they thought the circumstances were unfortunate, but everybody was really happy to see Thiago get his chance here. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I think it's, you know, silver linings and dark clouds. I think Tiago Splitter is going to be that for the Portland Trailblazers.
I hope so. He seems to have the right mentality. Everything when they hired him and Patrick St. Andrews at roughly the same time, I got a heads up and I started making some phone calls, start shooting some text messages to guys that I knew in Brooklyn, guys that I knew in Milwaukee, guys that I knew in Memphis, guys that I knew in Houston, some folks scouts that I know overseas that cover Paris basketball, and the overwhelming response that I got were both those guys would be head coaches the next 2 to 3 years. Their basketball acumen was through the roof. Their coaching maturity was responding rapidly. Like they were going to be head coaches. They had all the makings of soon to be head coach guys. And I've only gotten to talk to Thiago, away from the microphones a couple times. But in those moments, it's been pretty cool. And I remember him on those Spurs teams. Like if he can teach Donovan Clingan the dark arts of how to hold on a screen and how to grab guys on rebounds and how to mix it up and not get called for fouls, I'm all for it. You kidding me? Like, I love that. I mean, you guys saw the media game with the Celtics had with the coaching staff, right? I was in Chauncey's office the night that happened, or the day that it happened. And he looked at me, he goes, y'all don't think you can. I'm like, Chauncey, of all the media guys, I'm probably of all the regulars, I'm probably the most athletic, and my lower body is cooked. And I'm not going up against you, Pose, and Thiago. Are you out of your mind? I want nothing to do with this. I'm like, I am all of 5'10". Like, no, I'm good, dog. And I'm like, I get it. I'm not athletic anymore. I got nothing left. I am cooked. And I'm sitting there going, I'd have to check you or Thiago. And I don't want either. I know how broken your feet are. I see how you walk. I still don't want that smoke. You know what I mean? But like, the coaching staff they had assembled, I had really high hopes for. And so I hope that Thiago, and again, I think Thiago's pretty frustrated with how this situation, how he, quote unquote, earned this. But he has an opportunity to have a job at him for 81 games. And he made his first imprint last night in the game against the Jazz. Shaedon Sharpe has struggled playing with a starting group. He put him out there with Blake Wesley, Matisse Thybulle, Toumani Camara, and God, who else was out there? Who was the other big out there? I think it might have been Clingan, or they might have gone small. No, it was Jeremy Grant. No, it was all bench guys. It was Rupert and Dwap Reith. And that made Shaedon Sharpe have to be the focal point of the offense and made him have to be aggressive and made him have to decide when he was going to take shots and where he was going to find his spots. He couldn't guess. He had to figure it out. And Shaedon started knocking down threes. And I was like, that's interesting. That's a nice little psychology session. That's a little Phil Jackson there. I'm going to make it so you're the only guy out there who's on the ball because nobody else has the on-ball juice. Figure it out. I was like, I like that. Blazers are up 3, under 2 minutes to go. Under a minute to go. Fouled up 3. I went, there's the Paris basketball Tiago Splitter. I'm going to go ahead and file the one away for the notebook. Let's see if he continues to do that, or is that something he did against the Utah Jazz because they're trying to close the game with a guy like Walker Kessler on the floor. Like, all right, if you're going to try and close with Walker Kessler, we're going to make sure we put old Walker at the free throw line. And then they got Walker out of the game. It's like, now you can't have him on the game for defensive purposes, can you? And so it's like, it was just a fun couple of things he's done. And that was one of the first questions I asked Thiago when he took the job. How do you manage being a head coach now and putting your imprint on this team and worrying about what was already built and when is too soon or too late? Like, how do you question that? And he goes, I don't know. And I appreciated the honesty. He was like, I was here in the summer and we helped build this new offense and I was a big part of that. So we'll continue to do things that way, but I'm just going to do this kind of the way that I need to do it. And, with Jeremy Grant being so good off the bench to start the season and Shaedon Sharpe really struggling from the field, there's been some calls of like, well, maybe Jeremy should start. I'm like, we probably shouldn't do that right now. To be totally clear, I thought Jeremy should have started because I think it makes more sense for Jeremy to be a starter because he's a play finisher where Shaedon needs the ball a little bit more and isn't quite sure of his role. But that's a decision that Thiago may have to make. Or maybe he has to try to find and pull that string to get Shaedon to understand his role within the offense and when and where he can get his shots. Like, there's so many things that he can look at already, and we're only 5 games in the season. And when he does it, how he does it, and how strong he sticks to his guns from what he was as an assistant to being the head coach, because he's not even the interim head coach. He's the acting head coach because of the legality around all of this. He's not even in Chauncey's office. Chauncey's office is just, the door's just closed.
Wow.
So it's weird, right? So like, we could talk about Thiago's impact and what this is, but he's still not the interim head coach. He's the acting head coach. And for all intents and purposes, he's the head coach, but there's still that ubiquitous area of like, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? So it's awkward, man. But yeah, there's certainly some things to look at.
Danny, we appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. Truly appreciate it. Let our audience know where they can catch you covering the Trailblazers' upcoming projects. Anything else you want our audience to be aware of?
Yeah, I'm on Monday through Friday on 105.1 The Fan here in Portland. You can catch us if you're a Trailblazers fan and you want to check in what's going on with the Trailblazers, Chauncey Billups, anything like that. You can catch us on YouTube, youtube.com/1051 The Fan. I host the postgame show for KATU, the ABC affiliate out here, the TV partner of the Portland Trailblazers, Rip City Wrap-Up, following every Portland Trailblazers game. You can, if you're not in a local market here in Portland, you can watch that on youtube.com/K2 News. We live stream it there as well. And then my podcast, Jacked Ramsey, is part of the Blue Wire Network. It's a little less frequent right now because during the season with TV and such, I don't do as many, but those are there as well. Also, you can go to youtube.com/Danny Marang for all of those and any player or personnel interviews that I do with guys throughout the season as well. Oh, and patreon.com/Jacked Ramsey's where I do all my written content. Yeah, I do a lot.
Awesome, Danny. Thank you very much for your time. Truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Anytime, guys. Appreciate you having me.
Of course.
Thank you.